Good afternoon. I hope everyone's having a meaningful and enjoyable Memorial weekend. I'm just giving a little addendum here to a recent video that I put out in response to a caller who had um, a situation with concern to a younger person with severe mental illness, and it is believed that that person would not be able to sustain full-time employment of any kind, skilled or unskilled, due to the psychiatric symptoms and limitations from the disorder. So in that case, it's schizophrenia. Anyway, so the video's out there, and there is a poster, and God bless him, he or she seems really, really upset. And I think there was a misunderstanding. Maybe didn't listen too well to the video, but in any event, just to drive it home, when we talk about evidence and what makes for good evidence, less good evidence, stronger versus not as strong, that is about the evidence. That is not about the rule or the listing or what defines RFC. Totally different concepts. So this individual was clearly aggravated that I discussed how psychiatric admissions of duration and or frequency tend to be the stronger form of evidence compared to, say, biweekly therapy with our counselor, our divorce counselor, or another therapist. It just is, and I that didn't sit well. Perhaps that person's fighting a case and doesn't have that, and I was afraid they might not prevail. I really don't know. It is, and as I reiterated in the video, there is no one set of evidence that makes a winning case. There are many ways to skin a cat. It is a medley of things. So do you want to have, if you have a hospitalization, you're going to use that because that's going to be strong. It's not going to be defining, though. There's got to be other things and attendant circumstances that go along with someone who is in reality disabled, severely limited by mental health condition. So I have a feeling the person mixed up listings as being how you prove disability, which is one method. But it might not understand that it is evidence, medical evidence, that creates the evidence that is considered by those considering a listing, the adjudicator, the judge, whoever, who can come to a conclusion that the elements of the listings have been met. It is also what is used to determine what the RFC is going to be that's applied to the individual. And mind you, very often we attorneys or non-attorney rep advocates disagree with the findings of the fact finder or the ALJ, depending on what level you're at, which is why we've gotten involved, because we don't agree with their the summation of how limited the person is, because we obviously think they're more limited than they found. And that's part of the job, is finding more evidence if it's findable, and that will depend on the choices of the claimant, the client, but also connecting evidence to what would represent a particular element that we need to show, that would then either point to something in a listing, or probably more common, point to an RFC that results in a finding of disabled. Because as you know, everyone's got an RFC. Some put you at disabled and some do not. And with people under 50, most RFCs do not put you at a listing. So you have to prove that the person is not able to perform any job of any exertional level, and is unable also to perform a simple, unskilled, routine one to two step job that requires very little education, 7th grade, 8th grade, and even if they have less than that, that's still not going to win them disability. So when we describe evidence in all the various ways, and we describe the strongest evidence, that's exactly what we're talking about. So try not to let interruptive thoughts get in there. We're talking about the strongest evidence. It's not all inclusive. I think there is an unlimited amount of types of evidence because every case is different. But if we're going to talk about the strongest evidence, particularly in the kind of cases that are very, very difficult to prevail on for a younger person, that's what we're talking about. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Okay. So I just wanted to clear that up because this person seemed a little upset and seemed to be misunderstanding or confusing maybe evidence with listing criteria, completely different things. Although obviously they interact. Anyway, so in case it was confusing to anybody else, I don't think it was, but in case it was, I wanted to throw this little addendum out there. So you could be clear that there are many forms of evidence, and we're only talking about the biggest, strongest ones. We don't try to talk about the weakest ones that don't usually help people. There would be no point, right? All righty. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.